What's up, guys? It's Hyrecar guy here. Hope you all are doing well. So today I'm going to be talking to you about a video about how you can rent your car out on Hyrecar. So if you found this site, I hope that's what you're looking for. So let me give you some tips on, if it's better than renting on Hyrecar, if it's renting on Turo, what insurance is going to be like, what it takes to get started. That way you can have a better understanding of what Hyrecar is all about. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been doing Hyrecar now for a little bit over a year. I've made a few $1,000s doing it. On average, I do have a monthly income anywhere from, I would say, $400 to $800 extra coming in, depending on how much there's demand for my vehicle. So the car I personally rent out is an Acura TSX. It's a 2010. It is high mileage, but it's in very good condition. I've done a lot of work to it. I personally had it repainted. It has black leather interior. I keep it very clean. I do all the maintenance myself. I keep the tires good. I always have the oil changed every 6,000 to 7,000 miles. The car is in really good condition. I've spent a lot of the money that I've made renting the vehicle actually back into the car to get it up to par. One thing you have to understand when you're renting a vehicle out on Hyrecar, it's going to be rented primarily to Lyft and Uber drivers. So they're going to drive the vehicle a lot. I mean, a lot. You're looking at anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 miles a month is what they're going to go through, because they're going to try to make their money back. And they're actually paying a lot for the car, because not only they're going to pay you, but they're also going to be paying insurance and Hyrecar fees. So let's talk about the car first. So first off, this needs to be an extra car. It cannot be a car that, your daughter drives or your brother drives once in a while and you just want to rent it out, because it's not going to work out. Even if you lend it to your cousin once in a while, like I have, it's going to turn into an issue, because you don't really get a lot of notice when somebody wants to rent your car. Usually you'll get a notice the day before, sometimes the day of, that somebody wants to rent your car out for a week, 2 weeks, or even a month. So that car is not going to be available for that time. So you have to be willing to let it go, and it has to be in good condition. The best cars I recommend are something that's 10 years or less old. And that would be because the requirements of Uber and Lyft, not as much Hyrecar. And the most important thing is it has to be in really good mechanical and physical condition. And then also you want it to have it clean. Let's see. I would also recommend a fuel-efficient car. The most common cars would probably be a Prius or Camry, Cobalts, Darts, Elantras, any hybrid vehicle. Acuras, like in my case, the TSX or ILX would rent out really well. I imagine minivans and SUVs would rent out very well because of Lyft XL and Uber XL. So the Hyrecar requirements are quite vague. If you look at it from the driver's perspective, you got to understand that these cars are going to Lyft and Uber drivers. So what does Lyft and Uber require? Lyft is pretty lenient on their requirements. They go all the way back to 2006, which is 12 years old. They don't have a mileage restriction on the vehicle. They just need it to be 4 doors and pass their inspection. And the inspection you can pretty much get done anywhere at Jiffy Lube or Tire Kingdom or any of your local tire shops or car maintenance shops, Firestone. And they'll charge you anywhere from $15 to $45 to get that done. And that's one thing that you want to get done and have on the profile. That way your driver doesn't have to get that done for your vehicle to be approved, and they're not waiting once the rental starts. Uber is a little bit tougher. Uber is definitely a much more stricter platform. They're going to require a 10-year-old car. It's going to have to be a 2008. If it's 2018 if you're watching this video. So at least 10 years old. It's got to be 4 doors, of course. It's got to pass an inspection, but the biggest thing is that it can't be salvaged or rebuilt. So that's going to eliminate a lot of vehicles on Hyrecar. Another thing is the conditions really got to be good, because if the condition is not good, people are going to complain. They're not going to be satisfied with your rental. You're going to get poor reviews, and people aren't going to rent your vehicle again. So it should be in really good shape. I would definitely say it should not need any body work. Should have good paint, clean interior. I recommend having a car that has leather in it, because this is going to be used for Uber or Lyft. And a lot of people like to drink when they're on Uber and Lyft. So things are going to happen, drinks are going to spill. Also, you never know, people could be using it for DoorDash, Grubhub, Postmates, and they're going to be transporting all sorts of stuff in your vehicle. And that could mean that a spill coffee spills, things of that can happen, and they have happened in my car. Recently I had a car returned that had heat damage on the leather seats, and that was definitely either from some coffee spilled or something like that, but it's significant damage, and I have to get most of the seat reupholstered now. And honestly, I'm not getting any help from Hyrecar from it because they don't charge a deductible, and it's just me going after a renter who's pretty much not in a good situation to be renting, and it's just going to go against his credit. Anyway, so you just want to make sure it's clean, have leather seats. I recommend all-weather floor mats. It's going to be a huge plus. You don't want your carpet stinking. You don't want stuff hidden underneath your carpet. The other really important thing is to make sure there's no check engine lights or warning lights on. It needs to really have a working radio, and the AC should be cold. All windows should work. This is another safety issue. It's very important. All doors should work. The tires should have good tread left on them. They shouldn't have any holes or leaks or anything like that. I recommend a car that has a tire pressure monitoring system, because with Hyrecar, you are responsible for flats. If they have to get a flat repaired or have to get a tire changed, you're going to pay for it. I usually tell my renters or drivers that, I recommend they go to a used tire shop and get a tire there for the time being. That way it could be $20 or $30. And I usually have spare tires at home, and once I get the car back, I replace those tires on my own. But otherwise, if you don't, they can go to Firestone or anywhere and be charged $150 to replace the tire. And pretty much there goes all your profits for that whole week. All the lights should work. That's really important, especially in the interior. A lot of times you're going to be doing night Ubers and Lyfts. So if you have any of those fancy lights in there, like blue lights or red lights or anything like that, which you might really like, but it might not be really practical for somebody who's using it for Uber or Lyft, because they might have trouble seeing where they're going, especially when they're drunk or not really focusing or hanging out. You don't want them tripping out of their car or spilling something in your car or leaving stuff in your car. So make sure you have good lights. I recommend you get some LEDs, like a white LED that are nice and bright. They're even brighter than the regular lights that come in there. And make sure all of them are working. Of course, you want to make sure the headlights are working, the tail lights are working. You don't want your renter to get pulled over for not having, improper stuff, which of course all this will be a part of the Uber and Lyft inspection, but it's something that you have to keep up on your time as well. The other thing I really recommend is getting a toll pass. Here in Florida, we have something called a Sun Pass. It doesn't cost much. You can just get a sticker. It's like $3, or you can buy the one that you can switch out in any car, and I believe it's like $15 or $20. And you set a renewable balance on the account. This way you can track all the tolls that are being used. The great thing about that is because you're going to be responsible for those tolls. And if you don't, at the end of the rental, present those tolls to the driver, you're not going to be reimbursed for them. So if you have a driver going crazy on tolls, you might get a $35 bill, and it's not really worth it at that point, because that's probably going to take up a whole day's worth of renting. Make sure you tell them that up front, that you're using that. Another optional thing is to get a vehicle tracker. Completely optional. You're going to have to pay a monthly service fee on something like that. It's going to be using a SIM card, and you can put it on the car. That's a good option because I've had my car left in weird places. I did have my car found in an impound, and luckily somebody called me. I did not have a vehicle tracker. Somebody somehow got my phone number and was able to call me and let me know. So I only had to pay a day's worth of impound fees. The car was damaged. It had a broken windshield. I had to get that replaced. Luckily, the driver had a deductible, which Hyrecar doesn't require anymore, and that covered my windshield, but it did not cover my expenses for getting it taken out of the impound, which I had to go to the court office and show them proof of ownership of the vehicle. They released a paper to me that I presented to the impound lot, paid the $180 fee to get my car out of the impound, and brought it home and had to take a day off of work and everything like that. So you can expect a lot of crazy stuff to happen. Some of the worst things that have happened is I've had renters not pay. They can get their vehicle and then they're supposed to pay, they rent it for a week and they're supposed to renew if they want to keep it. And sometimes they'll get behind. And getting behind is probably the worst thing on Hyrecar because the money keeps adding up really, really fast. So if somebody gets a week behind, now they're looking at anywhere from, you know, a $300 to $400 charge that they need to come up with. At that point, do not let them go any farther. If they're more than like 3 days behind, I would start saying, you know, you're going to get in touch with the police or local law enforcement to get your car back, because it's going to be a real hassle to get them to pay up. I still have people that owe me $400 to $500 on Hyrecar. Of course, this just goes against their credit. There's no way to get them to pay for you, because if there is a case, it goes to arbitration. It doesn't go to a law office or a court office or anything. You'll have to actually, you know, pretty much, they say they can't rent a car until they pay you back. So a lot of people that rent the cars, and they just don't rent from Hyrecar anymore, and you're stuck. You're not going to get your money back. Other issues you need to be prepared for is customer service with Hyrecar is very tough. It's almost non-existent, let's be honest. Most of the time you can't really reach somebody on the phone. If you get lucky and you call and somebody picks up, great for you. But the majority of the time, if it's a weekend, night, they're in California, they're not going to pick up their phone. There's not going to be anybody there. The only time Hyrecar is really good about calling is when somebody wants to rent my car. Pretty much they'll call me consistently saying, do you want to rent it? And I say, yeah, of course. I want to make some income. But a lot of times when people want to rent your car, they'll put, you know, a request to rent your car, but then they don't have the funds. So the funds don't get approved. Other thing is, once you even get the funds approved, they have to get approved for insurance. And sometimes people don't get approved for insurance. So the whole time you're kind of dealing just, you know, hoping the car rents, hoping it doesn't. That's why it's really important that this needs to be a completely extra car, that you need to have another car for yourself. Because if you depend on this car, or somebody else depends on this car, it's going to inconvenience yourself. Not only that, it's going to inconvenience the driver who's renting it from you. I'll do some more follow-up videos. I'll send you some pictures of my car. I'll put some proof that I've been making income off of this. And if you guys have any questions, put them in the comment section. I'll definitely get in touch within 24 hours, 48 hours. If you have any videos that you'd like me to make, I can always do that for you as well. If you're wondering what happened to my eye, I got in a car accident a few years ago. More than a few years ago. It was a while back now. I just never got a fake eye put in. I'm kind of happy with what I have, and I don't really care what people think. Alright, thanks. See you guys.